So today we're going to be building this wall to clear up and organize my leather working room. If you've seen my shop tour, you've seen this mess. This is my leatherworking area. And well, today's the day. We gotta clean it out, set it up, and put some doors in. I really don't want to do it. But you know what? We're gonna have to. I really don't want to clean it out, is what I really don't want to do. But I guess we'll just see what happens. Oh look, it's all cleaned out. Okay, I did it off camera because I didn't want to bore you with it. But next, we gotta cut out this ductwork. Right behind here, there's a giant fan. I think this was used to be used as like a paint booth to suck all the fumes out. But I don't really need it, but I don't want to get rid of the fan just in case I change my mind later on down the road. The motor's seized up, but it does turn on with a switch. So I figured what we'll do is we'll cut this out because we don't need this whole space underneath it. There's a huge hole right here that'll be able to suck fumes out, and I have the insulation there because I'm not using it, but he originally had it for like furnace filters to go in that slot. So let's cut this down. I already marked out the lines where I'm cutting it. We'll cut this down, rip all this out, clean out underneath it, and paint. Alright, so we got this thing cut down. I'm going to bring you guys in here in just a second and show you what we're working with. So you can see this is just a hollow center. This fan here was the exhaust fan, and this where I have the pink insulation is where he put furnace filters. So we're going to keep the fan just in case, but I just cut all these 2x4s and this plywood. We'll make another piece to go right here and maybe a filter underneath here, because right underneath this is where the 3D printer is going to go. So I only plan on printing in PLA, but in case I do ABS, it'll be a good exhaust vent right underneath. All right, now that we got it cleaned out and that cut down, I took a broom to the walls. I may take my shop vac in here and kind of get all the dirt off, but I think it's time to paint. And we're done. So we did 2 coats of the primer, 2 coats of the paint, and I know what I said. I was going to do white. I also said I was going to use what shop paint I had. Turns out all of my cans of paint went bad. So I had to buy this. So next, we're going to put all of the stuff back. Now I know what you're thinking. Why don't you build the wall first? Problem is, I don't want to finagle the workbench, the granite top, and all of that stuff in the small door opening. So we're going to get all of the big stuff in, then we're going to build the wall, then we'll hang the doors. You already saw the thumbnail, you know it's going to be great. I'm not so sure yet. Okay, so because where 2 of the 3 walls are cinder block, for the sake of ease, rather than using my hammer drill and drilling out each and every hole and then putting in a Tapcon, what I'm going to do is our workbench is going to go all along this back wall here. So I've got a couple of scrap 2x4s that I'm going to mount as a ledger board. What we'll do is have the workbench, when we pull it in, sit on top of those 2x4s, and then we'll screw them together. How we're going to do that is I'm going to use a ram set or a power actuated hammer. All it's going to do is it's going to fire a little .22 caliber shell and shoot a nail through the 2x4 and into the concrete. This just is a lot easier than drilling out with a hammer drill, and I think I got the DeWalt version for like 25 bucks. So if you have cinder block walls like me, it's going to be the easiest way to mount 2x4s to your wall. I don't anticipate it's going to hold a lot of weight. Haven't really seen as far as how much weight they can hold. It's really just going to be a place for that back part of the workbench to rest against and hold it against the wall. There are going to be legs on the front. They're going to carry most of the weight. So let's hammer those in. All right, just to bring you guys in a little closer, show you what I'm doing. So you've got a nail here that's got these little plastic pieces, and what that does is that holds the nail perfectly in the center of this barrel. Then up top here, you take the little 22 caliber shell, shove that in there, and you have to press and then hit the top with a hammer. So let me hammer this next one in. We'll level it out and then put in another nail. Oh man. All right. That's the biggest stuff in here. Let's build the wall. I mean, don't take that the wrong way. I mean a wall in here. Like in my workshop. I'm just gonna. So we got these blocks added in. These ones I just screwed from the outside, and over there I put in pocket holes. So we're gonna get our door, place it in, and we'll secure it through these blocks into the back of the door so you don't see any screws from the outside. So let's get the door. All right guys, so here is where we're at. We got that door mounted up, and I took what was the masonite that was up there and I cut it down into strips. It actually worked out pretty close to being exactly what I needed. I think I needed to cut a little 3-inch strip to finish the bottom, but it worked out. So we're gonna do that to cover up the walls. I'm not doing drywall or anything like that because this is, well, a workshop. I think right here I'm gonna end up mounting some of my table saw jigs. But for now, let's continue with this build and let's get our door mounted. Okay, so we got our door on the workbench. What I like to do with barn doors especially is I like to mount the rollers first. If I take, we got our whole kit here. If I take these rollers, this is what's gonna ride on the track. These are gonna get mounted to the top of the door. What I like to do is I like to mount this hardware on first. I'll space it out to make sure the track has a little bit of room, along with some of the spacer blocks that come with it to kind of trap the track in between the track and the roller, or the door and the roller. Then that way, once we get this mounted, then we can determine how high our steel needs to go across for the rollers to ride on. And that gives us proper spacing at the bottom to make sure our door isn't rubbing on the ground, and just kind of, it makes it a lot easier. So let's mount these rollers first. All right, so we got our door in place. I got it propped up on a piece of 1/2-inch plywood. So what I did is, now that I got it up against the wall, looking at the roller, I'm going to mark an approximate height for where I want the top of that bar is. Now I'm going to be a little generous with it because I'd rather have it up higher off the ground than too low. So we've got about a 1/2 inch of play. So I got it marked out where I want it as far as height goes. I'm going to move it out of the way, draw a level line, and we'll go from there. So we got it all screwed in, we put it on there, but there's another problem. You know what they say, this should be a really easy and simple project. It's usually setting yourself up for disaster. Let me bring you guys in and you can see how badly I messed up too. Do you see it now? This door comes out too far, and the track isn't enough space to make this roll in front of it. So you know how we're gonna fix it? I'm gonna have to undo everything I just did in order to put a header board all the way across and basically make all of the work I just did pointless. Love it. Well, it only took a couple of issues, a lot of desiring to curse, some extra work. I just took some 3/4 inch plywood, made a long strip, put it up there behind it. What I'm probably going to do is put some Danish oil on it just to kind of change the tone of it a little bit so it's not like 3 different wood tones up there. But the door works. Now that we have a door, a wall, and most of the junk all over my shop, let's get it all organized. All right, we got it all done. Let's go inside and check it out. First of all, our 3D printer is running. Super exciting. I got some cool stuff I designed on there trying to see if it works, but we got it all set up underneath our hood so it fits right here. I think eventually I'm gonna, put some lights up here so we can see down on top, but we got it all sealed up. Our insulation's here, and then our fan is back there, so then if we ever decide to print with ABS or some other form of plastic, we can vent it out and maybe even enclose this thing later. I built a little rack here that's got all of our PLA filament that's going to go on a rod that's easy to slide back and forth and be able to change colors and things like that. I also got this rack here. I need to get some more conduit to put up here, but it's just steel conduit with some nails driven in at an angle on these 2x4s to be able to put my rolled leather on these pipes and stack them all the way along the wall, which keeps things nice and tight up against the wall. We also got our shelf mounted up here. I just got a bunch of stuff up there that's quick and easy to grab. One of the things that I don't grab very often, I got a Bible cover I haven't finished yet up there and some other things. But let's tour the room a little bit. So right next to our 3D printer, we got our main workbench back here. This is where I'm going to do a lot of the setups and detail work for the 3D prints, but also where I'm going to be setting rivets and driving in our snaps and things like that, because over here we have our granite and I don't really want to do that on the granite and risk cracking it. So we got a nice solid workbench here. It was the workbench that we had over there, I just kind of modified it a little bit to fit the space. We got it over the window, got a nice little desk lamp here, and a friend of mine actually made these lamps. They're made out of little moonshine jars, which I thought was pretty cool, so I had to keep them in there. But we got our little Harbor Freight drawers here that keeps all of my leather tools, and it's super easy and convenient to do. And we also got our wired in for power. So I ended up putting 4 outlets along these walls here, and it's on its own breaker, so I can shut the whole breaker down if we ever needed to. Then over here, we got our granite slab. We got this nice little cutting mat that was on there. I actually had it, but I just haven't opened it because my other one got super bent and warped and all kinds of nasty. So we got a nice, fresh, clean one here to put over the granite slab. This is a self-healing one, so when we make cuts and things like that, the granite keeps it nice and flat, but then the cutting edge just helps us keep our blades a lot nicer. Got a nice little lamp here and another one of those moonshine bulbs up there. And then we got this nice file cabinet. So eventually this is going to be where I'm all my plans and templates and little things, you know, like this. That's my key ring, which is my next video. But it helps me just kind of keep things organized in there. I'm a paper person. I don't really like digital files, but this just lets me be able to keep all the paper nice and organized. So this was another nice added feature. We had this wall here, and I wanted to figure out how to use it. So I put in little shelves here to put all our dies, our extra die, our glues, clamps, stuff like that all along this wall here. But it also doubles for another reason, which I'll show you now. I got those 2x4 shelves all screwed in at the right heights so I can hang my jigs up on the wall right behind my table saw. This gives me just quick access to them, so then that way they're nice and solid and sturdy on there. But this is like my spline jig, my picture frame jig, my crosscut sled kind of lives right underneath the saw, but it gives us a good anchor point to put stuff into. Then I also, when I installed this door, put some hooks on the front so I can store my shop aprons that makes it easy and convenient to grab. Hey guys, if you like this video, hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell notification to get notified whenever I upload my next video. Well guys, thank you for joining me here on Shepherd's Workbench.